Assalamualaikum, Sister Jouri.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you for being here and joining our new Muslim circle group and sharing your story with us. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a Mexican-American revert, I guess. I've lived in Houston my entire life. And I don't know, I've had this belief in God, but I never knew, like, what it was, because I didn't fit in any of the boxes. I grew up, like, my family's Catholic, but not practicing.
Yeah, and most Hispanics are Catholic.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, but not practicing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like we're culturally Catholic.
Yeah.
We were not, like, church.
Right.
But we believed in God
Yeah.
and Jesus. But seeing, like, Jesus on the cross always made me uncomfortable. I'd, try not to make eye contact.
Really?
I hated it.
What made you, like, even think about Islam? Like, how did that come into your life?
You know, it's so crazy. I had no clue what a Muslim was, or Islam, or anything until last year.
Really?
Yeah.
You never even, like, met any Muslim friends? Nobody in your, like, community or in school or anything?
I did, but I didn't ask questions.
Okay.
I was just like, okay, this is,
Their
you're
life.
cold.
Yes, okay.
No, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I guess in high school I saw hijabis, but, you know, I wasn't friends with, I was like the emo kid. So I guess that makes sense why I wasn't friends with, like,
That's okay.
Muslims. You know what I mean? Because I was very alternative, black eyeliner, black nail.
Yes.
You know?
And you could definitely do that in Islam, right? Black hijab, black eyeliner,
There
all
we
the
go.
things.
The first goth hijabi.
I like it.
My best friend of 14 years, he actually converted a year before me, like a year and a half before me.
That's amazing.
So what ended up happening is we'd been friends for 14 years. I think that we've always thought very similarly when it came to, like, politics and, you know, socioeconomics and just, like, generally, like, morality, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why we always got along so much, and we stayed close for so long. Like, we met freshman year, and we were, like, inseparable after that. Even after I graduated, I barely talked to people like that.
So you trusted him. I mean, like, he would, like, when he changed, it was something like, wow, this must have been for a reason, like a good reason. And I trust his instincts and I trust his decision. And that's what brought you kind of curious into what is this?
Yeah, plus he also did a lot of the work for me. So
nice.
he,
I love friends like that.
Yeah. He literally read every single religious text that was out there.
Yeah.
And then was like, you know what, the only one that makes sense is Islam.
Yeah.
But when he was on his journey, I unfortunately was, like, on my own journey where we lost contact. And I actually I was dating, like, this really abusive, like, guy, you know? And then I was just so lost and, like, sad. So when we did reconnect last year, so he kind of, not gave me, like, the courage, but, like, after reconnecting with him, it made me realize, like, what am I even doing? So I literally left that guy.
Made you think about life and your choices and where you're going, your future.
You know, because like I felt so hopeless. Like there was like nowhere for me to go. Because of this guy, I was completely cut off from my family, and so I had nowhere to go. And then he didn't let me work or have my own income because he was afraid that I was gonna leave him. So he knew he was doing.
So very abusive.
Yeah. So I ended up, after talking to my best friend, deciding, you know what, I don't care. Whatever happens to me, happens to me. Whatever God has planned for me is gonna happen. So I had no job. I had literally $0 in my bank account and nowhere to live. I was basically homeless. And I just left.
Such a hard time.
Yeah, but
the best time to find Allah.
Actually, it really. So I moved in with my aunt and my uncle, who like welcomed me like very graciously into their home and helped me out a lot. I got my old job back, but at a different location. And then reconnected with my best friend, and I really wanted to understand him because when we were growing up, we were both very depressed together. You know, fortunately, like I was a little bit suicidal.
Trauma bonded?
Yeah, no, seriously. So to see him so happy. You know,
change.
Yeah, and like content with life. I wanted that. So I started to read the Quran myself, and like I had a little bit of like a drinking problem too. Because I escaped my problems by drinking. So I was trying to put that in my past and like give that up anyways. And it was a really, really hard like struggle, you know. And
I think there's such a stigma around that too, right? Because people forget that even the Sahabas had problems with that.
Yeah.
And even Allah didn't take away drinking overnight.
Yeah.
Like, he did it gradually. Don't drink during, like, don't be drunk during your prayers.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now it's no more.
Yeah.
So it takes time, right?
Yeah, like they literally, I think we talked about in class today that Aisha was literally saying if they revealed that in the beginning, nobody would have wanted to.
Right, it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that was something I decided to do before I even decided I wanted to convert. That was just something I wanted to do for myself.
Yeah, so it just kind of gave you that little push, that little extra purpose to go through, to reach your goal.
Yeah.
Of being sober.
And there was actually one day when I was just really, really sad about like everything and the way that my life had turned out. And I called my best friend and he was speaking to me, basically telling me like, you know, you have to, I don't even remember what it was, but he basically gave me like really good advice, and after I thanked him, he was like, this is not from me. I'm literally reading the Quran to you.
Oh, that's
like
so
word
nice.
for word. You know?
Yeah.
People always ask me, oh, what surah was that? Or what ayah? And I was like, I have no idea. I can't remember. I was like, I'm gonna take, because I was reading Quran, but like on audiobook. And now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, Astaghfirullah, so disrespectful. I used to listen to it.
But that's like, I feel like that's, you know, whatever way you can get Islam in, whatever knowledge, however it comes to you, it comes to you for that reason. Like if Allah made it easy for you to get it on an audible book, that's the way, you know, it opens the door. So alhamdulillah, because this led you here now.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Right?
Well, the reason I say Astaghfirullah is because like I would listen to it like a podcast when I'm showering.
Oh.
Yeah. But I didn't know.
You know,
I
we're
know
not all
the rules.
perfect overnight. It's fine.
Yeah. But I decided, you know what? There was like a website he sent me where he had it like, but it was in like really old English, and I was like, oh. So then I found another website that had it like modern English with like tafsir. So then I was like, I'm gonna study the Quran. I want to know it. I was literally going ayah by ayah, writing down the old English ayah, then the modern English, then the tafsir, and then my own definition of what I thought.
Your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like full Cornell notes.
That's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, you dove in.
I only made it through Baqarah though.
Oh, yeah, wow. I was about to be like, wow, that's so impressive. I feel kind of bad about myself.
It was too much. I was like, okay, you know.
But Surah Al-Baqarah is such a strong surah. It really can lay out the path.
Yeah.
You know, so that's really awesome.
Yeah. And then like while reading it, I started to feel guilty because the way I used to dress was like, you know, like non-Muslims, like, you know, and I was like, ugh, what am I doing? Like, I started to dress more modestly, and then he sent me the flyer for these classes.
Oh, nice. Okay, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, and I was so excited, especially I didn't have a car then.
Yeah.
So I saw that they offered it on Zoom, and I was like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I can, you know, do it at like home.
So how long from like when you started researching about Islam to when you decided to become a Muslim? Like, I've done my research, I've read all the things that I've come to the classes, and when did you decide now is the time?
No, I think I decided to take it seriously in June, and then around August, after like reading the Quran, I wasn't done with it yet, but I started wearing hijab.
Yeah, okay, wow, mashallah.
Because I was like, I don't know, I had 27 years of like freedom, where I could do whatever I want, and so it's just like me, if I'm doing something, I like go all in. So it was just like, there's no point in me even trying this if I can't even do something that simple. And last year was hot.
Yeah. Like,
it was so hot last year. So I wore like the thinnest, see-throughest chiffon.
Yeah.
But I had it on.
Okay.
And it wasn't hard. So I was like, okay. And then my friend was like, well, if you don't pray, then you're not Muslim.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was like, you need to see if you can even pray 5 times a day. So then I started praying, and I was like, okay, this is not hard. I had an app that I would just have my headphones on, and I would.
And that really goes back to like showing like how Allah, it's not up to us to decide who becomes Muslim or to try, right?
Yeah.
Allah has to open their hearts,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't matter. You could give someone all the information they want. If Allah does not open their heart to it, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And when Allah does open your heart, it's so easy. Things come so easy, right? I mean, we have hardships, but Allah shows you the way. And if you see that way, it's easy, right? So that's so beautiful that it was easy for you to pick up those things.
Yes, and I was so shocked. I was like, okay. And I think after 2 of these classes, I messaged on the Zoom and I was like, hey, how do I do the Shahada?
Oh, yes.
And they're like, come to the next class. And it was so crazy because like I had been like taking lifts and like Ubers to work at that point. And almost every single one of my Lyft or Uber driver was like Muslim.
Oh yeah, so you got a little bit of Muslim interaction outside and inside.
And, like my first time too. Like before that, I never met anyone or that I knew of like was Muslim. You know. Mm-hmm. So they saw me wearing the hijab and they were like, "Oh, assalamu alaikum," and I was like, "Hi."
I don't know how to respond. Oh, that's amazing though. I love that. I do love that story. That's great.
Yeah, they were very encouraging. Like every single driver was like, "Inshallah, you make it," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever that means."
Now you know, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to come back to your parents. So I know like after your relationship with that man, everything in your life felt like it was going downhill. Mm-hmm. So after you came into Islam, how did your aunt and uncle react? And then have you ever touched base with your parents?
So my aunt and uncle, like, they were actually very supportive.
Nice.
They were just like, whatever you want.
They
didn't know anything. So they were like, they're Catholic too. But again, not practicing. Mm-hmm. I think their daughter goes to Catholic school, you know, but that's just because it's better than public school, you know. But I mean, everyone in my family knows me that I'm gonna do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. So even if you do have an opinion, I'm not gonna listen to you.
Yeah, right. That's good.
Yeah, they were
strong-willed.
just like, as long as you're happy, like we don't care. And they noticed like a change in me.
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
They were really happy.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sure.
And so, what's it called? My parents. I ended up texting them. I made a group chat and I texted them and I was like, hey, I just want to let you guys know I'm Muslim now. Mm-hmm. And my mom didn't respond. Unfortunately, like me and her have not really had like a good relationship since I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really, you know, like expecting it. But my stepdad, who I consider like he's my dad, like he's raised me since I was a little girl, you know. Yeah. He was so excited.
Oh, good.
He was like happy. Mm-hmm. He actually showed up to my job that day without even telling me. He just like, my brother texted me and was like, hey, where do you work? And I told him and he was like, oh, Dad wants to take you out to dinner. What's the address? And then they showed up, waited for me to get off of work, took me out to eat. And they were talking to me, and my dad was so happy because, like, I told him, I was like, I stopped drinking, and, like, I'm getting my life together, and I'm so happy, I'm, like, not depressed anymore, and he was just like, wow, I wish you could have read it a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing, though. Yeah, that's so great. So, were there any, like, I know there were a lot of things that came easy to you, right, when you converted, but was there anything that you found difficult or difficult now, difficult then that you've come out of, and maybe like advice that you could give new Muslims, especially as women?
I think the music thing is really hard.
Yeah, giving up music.
Yeah, I was in choir from like 3rd grade to 12th grade. Yeah. So like music was like a big part of my life. Like you can replace it with like podcasts and like nasheed, but like it's everywhere. You can't even go to a coffee shop without listening to music. But I think that's one of the main things. I think, and then also like the whole dating thing, like it's so hard.
Yeah, it's very different, right?
Yeah, especially
you've got to put all your cards out on the table. Like everyone has to understand what the intentions are here. There's no play.
Everyone has different rules too about like how you should date. Some people are like, you need to get married after 2 months. Oh. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I want to wait at least a year, and everyone's like, no, that's too long. I don't know, but
well, you never know. Sometimes that, just coming back to Allah makes things easy. Sometimes when you know, and Allah points you in all the right ways, and that's the one that will take care of you. Yeah. But
for advice, I'd say stay off salams for sure.
Stay off what?
Salams.
Salams?
Yeah, it's like
is that a dating app?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was like, I don't even know. See, I'm out of the game. I don't know. But
there's a lot of creeps
yeah.
on there. Honestly, if you're like a new Muslim, like the teacher of the class will tell you, like I always share my stories. I've had like some horror stories of dealing with people in the community.
Yeah.
I think take your time, honestly. Like I of course like dove full on.
Yeah.
Right, but that's because like after I converted, I got inserted into like this group of like 60 other like Muslim sisters. So they fully embraced me. Like that's the one thing that I loved about Islam. The one thing that really like hit the nail for me was like the kindness. Because people have been so cruel to me my entire life, and I never understood why. I never retaliated either, and I'd always forgive people for hurting me, you know, because it's sort of like this turn the other cheek type thing, you know. But in Islam, like it's centered around being kind to you.
There's a difference between being kind and being nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So your intention and all those things play in.
Yeah. So when I do like encounter like people who are like I don't want to. They're not as
negative.
kind.
They're negative.
Yeah, they're negative.
Yeah.
I think that like my life experiences has helped me develop like this really thick outer shell.
Brush it off your shoulders.
Yeah, it doesn't even bother me anymore. So like there's gonna be people out there who are gonna tell you can't do this, you can't do that, or you have to do this, you have to do that, and at the end of the day, you gotta realize that like you're on your own journey. Just because I started wearing a hijab before I converted, like that was me. My own personal decision, you know, like there's born Muslims who still don't wear like hijab this day, and there's nothing like wrong with them. They're on their own journey, you know. I have people come up to me every day that are like, oh, you do your eyebrows haram, like whatever. I mean, I know it is, and I'm trying, but
I think also like new Muslims have to understand that while they're trying to help you, that's also not the Islamic way. Right? So we have to be very careful as Muslims who are greeting new Muslims, because like you said, everyone's on their own path, and you don't know anyone's history. You don't know that this person, you know, used to use alcohol all the time for all these things, you know, so if you knew that, you would be more sensitive to that topic around them, right? So knowing that, like you said, we're all in Rome is not built in a day, right? And like I like to remind people, you know, it took 23 years for the Quran to be finished. Imam, we were just talking about it over there. Imam is like an up and down roller coaster, right? But it all leads you back to Allah. It always comes back to Him. That's His whole purpose. You do things, you get sad, you come back to Him. You have blessings, you're very happy, you come back to Him, right? You lose your way a little bit, and then you feel like something's wrong. I need a new purpose. You come back to Him. And I always felt lost. I don't feel that way anymore. I celebrated being 1 year sober 2 weeks ago. That is such a huge thing for me. I never in a million years thought I'd ever be able to say something like that. Mabruk, congratulations. May Allah continue your path and make it easy for you.
Yes, please. Ameen.
Well, is there anything else that you want to tell us about your journey, or any other tips you want to give new Muslims? Obviously, everyone come to the New Muslim group.
For sure.
The New Muslim Circle group. Got great classes.
I don't know where I would be without these classes. Because it's like once you convert, you really just, it's like an open water. You know? But with these classes, like we do meet and greets. Like I've made so many friends because of this. I've met so many amazing people, and like alhamdulillah, like I'm lucky enough to even like be able to work for this organization, to like now host like events. Like I hosted a hijab halaqah with some other sisters 2 weeks ago.
That's amazing.
You know, just to like even talk about why we wear the hijab, and to give back to the community, and to like help other reverts, because I know I was lost, and I don't want other people to feel that way. And I know that some people try to bully me, and I do my best to like look out for my sisters, because like it is hard. Like I've heard so many stories about like, oh, you convert and then it's hugs, mashallah, Allahumma barik, you know, and then afterwards like you're lonely, you're lost. This class has never made me feel that way.
Alhamdulillah.
You know?
There's a community here for sure. Well, thank you, Sister Jouri, for telling us about your story and sharing with us your tips. Yeah, thank you guys.